Spartans, Illini on the hardwood on Saturday, and surely no one in either fan base cares about this game. Now, this will just have no emotion whatsoever.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Crossover of Locked On Spartans and Locked On Illini is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Illini Nation, how is everyone doing? I know everyone on the Illini side is happy to see me over here. It's Matt Sheehan of Locked On Spartans. And over there, hey, who's that strapping gentleman? What's up, man? How we doing?
Life is good. I'll try not to make the mistake that I got called out for last time. Apparently, I called you guys the Michigan Spartans. I didn't even realize I had done that.
Shoot.
That was completely by accident, and I've made a mental note that that's not going to happen anymore this episode.
Wow, look at us, just making the other fan base as happy as humanly possible. Now, that was a small gaffe, of course. I ran my Twitter fingers pretty good after the last game because, well, why wouldn't I? It was a great win. The fallout from both fan bases was sensational afterward. We are going to talk about this game on Saturday because that's important. But first, Sonny, you had the genius idea, actually, of going back a few weeks and just laying to rest any final emotions, any final thoughts from that game. Because, yes, well, it did happen a few weeks ago. Safe to say, at least on our end, probably the most emotion-fueled game so far this season for our Spartans. And, well, from the Illini, based on Twitter is not real, but based on what I've seen from the internet, I think that maybe it goes for you guys too. But go on, 1 minute to put your final thoughts out there, Sonny. This is your idea. Take it away.
Exactly. So again, the gist of this is going to be I get to air my grievances for anywhere from 45 seconds to 1 minute, and Matt's going to do the same exact thing, responding. We feel like that was such a big deal that we have to respond. We have to acknowledge that game before we can move on to Saturday's game. So I get the mic first. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Illinois loses. Obviously, it was a 2-point game, 80-78, and obviously the main issue, and this wasn't just Illinois fans. This was national media immediately after the game referencing the refereeing of that game and how Kasparis really was only got to play 9 minutes. He had 5 fouls in those 9 minutes, and some of those fouls were very controversial. Let's put it that way. Usually this happens every game. This is not that big of a deal. But I think the frustrations from the Illini side was Michigan State fans just not acknowledging that, hey, you know what? This particular game, we got the whistle. This happens just on when Illinois just got finished playing UCLA the other day. I came on the postgame and said, hey, Illinois got a very friendly whistle. See how easy that was? It was very easy. It was a couple of words, got it out. But Michigan State fans, who at that point were undefeated and kept winning a couple games after that, they kept getting, I think they were a little sensitive in the sense where, hey, people were calling out their soft schedule and whatnot. And so they felt a little defensive about it. And I think the fact that they couldn't just admit that, hey, the game could have gone a little bit different if Kasparis got to play more minutes, if Will Riley, who was on fire that first half, he ended up with 4 fouls himself in that second half. He was essentially taken out. President Center. Crazy place to play. Illinois only lost by 2 points. Every fan base should be allowed 24 to 48 hours to vent and be frustrated. But the fact that Michigan State fans wouldn't just be like, haha, we won. Yeah, we got the call. I think that's what pissed Illinois fans off. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, and that's fine. Or 24 to 48 hours or 72 or 96, depending on how long, anyone wants to take it. But what really gets my goat going, and hey, you know what? Sure, whistle aside, whatever. I, for one, think that stepping on Jaden Aiken's foot maybe should have been called a foul. But nevertheless, I think what still baffles me, perhaps, is, everyone calls this out for, hey, he cries to the refs. He, is always just, oh, no, I can't swear on the show, whining and moaning about calls. Does the TV work over at your guys' place, too? Is Brad Underwood ever on camera as well? Because he works the ref just as good, too. I don't know why it's always this was oh, he's the only guy that complains about calls. He's always, well, no, the only difference is that after the game, Underwood, I think, took that a little too into next week. Or, you know what? I think it also hung over the team's head that, hey, officiating was the only reason that we lost. And I got to say, I cannot look at the Maryland 91-70 game the week after or a few days later and say, Well, it doesn't seem like they had their head on straight. It seems like there was only officiating that was blamed upon for that game. It wasn't the fact that, you guys had your 7-foot guy jacking up 4 threes in the second half. It wasn't any other thing going on around the game. It was just all officiating. To me, that seemed like a culture issue, too, that, like, okay, you couldn't get right for this very must-win-ish kind of sort of game against Maryland. And then you got dominated out by 20. So that's where I have the grievances. But, Sonny, this is where it gets stupid here. Because, like, what else could I possibly say right now? Because here we go. We're going to drop the curtain right now because I would love to come on here and cut this wrestling promo, be this big bad Michigan State fan that I was, put it all to you, little Illini over there. But, no, what were the Illini fans saying? What were Michigan fans saying? What were Purdue fans saying? What was every other fan base saying during this 13-game win streak for Michigan State? It was like, hey, they're the beneficiaries of an easy schedule. They've only won 13 straight because they've played the bottom half of the Big Ten, and we're sitting over here like, now, come on. Hey, you know what? Because every other team, like you guys, like Michigan, like Purdue, you guys have had some bad losses, but us Michigan State fans, we have not seen our team have a bad loss. And this is why I just can't do the ridiculous, like, beating my chest thing because, Sonny, not sure if you guys have seen, but
Oh, I saw.
Turns out when the schedule got a little tough for us over in California, we lost to USC, lost to UCLA, and then Oregon comes to town. We're down 12 by them in the first half, rallied to have a great win. But it was only a great win because you were down a dozen points in the first half to a sliding Oregon team. And then, of course, you lost to Indiana, which is never good. It's extra not good when Mike Woodson was fired a week ago. Like, we lost to a fired Mike Woodson. Like, this was never a good loss at any point in the season. It's really bad now. So can I be defiant? Can I be this arrogant SOB that I want to be, that I wanted to be 2 weeks ago? No, because, damn it, the haters seem right now. I mean, like, once the schedule got a little tough, and, like, it pains me to say it, Michigan State fans don't want to hear it. I'm sure right now at this point, I know Locked On Illini probably isn't thrilled with me. I'm sure Locked On Spartans fans aren't thrilled with me right now. But I'm calling it what it is. In the last 8 halves of basketball, Michigan State has looked good in one of them. But so what am I going to do here? It sucks. It sucks. But I'm sure you're just all thrilled about this argument. Yeah, just go ahead and sound off. Go ahead.
Matt, I don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and feel bad for you. Okay? Yeah, you yourself, sure. We've been gentlemanly in all of our interactions. But if you take a look at anything I tweeted after, maybe for a week after that game, there's a bunch of anonymous Michigan State accounts that would constantly chirp at me after every single loss. So having said all that, again, if you're going to expect a sympathy card in any sort of way from me, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen from the Illini on Saturday. Obviously, it's going to be a huge day of celebration. We're going to be honoring Terrence Shannon Jr. We're going to be honoring his jersey, not retiring. I know for some reason that bothers Michigan State fans as well, us using that verbiage. But, it's going to be an exciting game. And I hope, we're healthy somewhat. We've been I think we're probably going to start talking about the game shortly, so I'll allude to it later. We've been playing pretty much a 6-man lineup for the last couple of games just because of the sickness that pretty much the entire league has been dealing with.
Correct.
So, hopefully we get a healthy team tomorrow. Hopefully, we have some impartial refs tomorrow. I'm just kidding, of course.
Let's go stir it, baby.
And let's just have a real game. I'm looking forward to it on Saturday.
Educate us what that means between, like, the retirement and the ceremony or whatever. Am I hearing this right, that, like, you guys have a bunch of numbers up in the rafters and you're still able to wear those numbers? Or, like, truly, like, how does it go there? Like, I'm taking my smarmy hat off. I'm genuinely curious right now.
It's simply one of those we acknowledge players who've reached certain bullet marks, in their career. It's not retiring jerseys because Illinois doesn't do that. But if a certain player comes to Illinois, plays 3 years, and for example, one of the qualifications is if he's an All-American, well, then he can be honored for one night. Basically, that's all it is. It's just it's a celebration one night saying, hey, we appreciate your time at Illinois. These are college kids, right? They have 4 and in today's day and age, even less than that years to play college sports. It's not like the NBA where you can play for 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of these kids in college, they have those 3-4 years of college ball, and then they're selling insurance for the rest of their lives, right? So for Illinois, is the only difference that they do is, if you reach certain thresholds, you're allowed and you're qualified to come back and basically get a celebration. It happens during halftime of a game, and it's just 15 minutes of acknowledging. There'll be a nice video tribute and all that kind of stuff, and then they will raise your jersey, but the number's not retired. It's just your name is acknowledged, and it's going to be up in the rafters for the rest of eternity.
I'm torn on that because, I do like honoring players that have, of course, earned it. And in this case, Terrence Shannon, I think, truly has, of course. Kofi Coburn, not too long ago, I know you guys did. He had a solid career. But, I also do love, and I hate to use this word, I guess bravado, maybe perhaps arrogance is the one I'm trying to avoid here, of, Michigan State fans, we haven't even seen Denzel Valentine's number up to the rafters yet. And he won Player of the Year how many years ago? Cassius Winston, one of the best players. It's almost akin to what we used to do, and that we didn't hang up Big Ten tournament banners for the longest time, and I kind of actually high-key like that. That was the thing, is other teams won it. Oh, you guys looked a banner for that? We're too good for that, which I know sounds ridiculous, but dang, I kind of liked it. Kind of goes hard, so I'm torn. It's I kind of like honoring all these players, but at the same time, oh, you line, I just honor anyone over there, which that's the road I'm going to take, because what else would I do right now as a Michigan State fan? We are, me and you, Sonny, are going to talk about this game here in a hot second. I promise that. I'm sorry, I took us way off on a tangent there. But first, I need to talk everyone's ear off about Factor Foods. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor, it makes eating well easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every single week. You can customize your meal to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto Plus. Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning, guys. It is convenient. It's unbeatable. There's no prep, no mess, and, well, it's just great food in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/lockdown50 off and use code LOCKDOWNCollege50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LOCKDOWNCollege50 off at factormeals.com/lockdowncollege50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. So, Sonny, as it pertains to this game here on Saturday, point blank, who has more stakes riding on this game? Because of both teams, in a vacuum, it's very simple. In the last 7 games, both teams are 4-3. That's not really painting the full picture, though. You guys have held your heads somewhat above water. You guys are off back-to-back wins, especially one against UCLA very defiantly, if I may. And then Michigan State, we know the story here. They've lost 3 of their last 4, but not just that, lost their foothold, not just on the Big Ten title lead, which kind of dissolved in California, but now, after losing that 12-point favorites at home against Indiana with a very tough 7 games left, dare I say, it's not a distant thought, but man, you lose this game, you can pretty much just kiss it goodbye, because you still have Michigan twice, you got to play Purdue once, you got to play Wisconsin and Iowa on the road. So for us, I think the stakes are higher for Michigan State, just because this would truly kiss the Big Ten race goodbye. But Illinois, I know you guys are sitting with 6 losses. Do you feel like you're truly 100% of the Big Ten race, or what would a win mean for you guys, and would that be enough to make the stakes higher for you guys coming to this one?
I think this game is purely emotional for Illini fans.
Sure.
Again, it being honoring Terrence Shannon Jr. and the whole fiasco and drama that happened after the last game, we really feel like we owe you one. Mm-hmm. But taking the emotions out of it, I think this game is clearly more important for the Michigan State Spartans, just simply because you guys are in the running for the conference. At 6 losses already, we're going to need a miracle at this point to split a conference title with the teams above. For us now, it's just kind of getting the team ready, getting the team healthy. Slowly, Will Riley, it started in the first half against Michigan State, but he's slowly come into his own to becoming the star player that a lot of us thought he would eventually become. Tom Izzo, continues to be what I say is the most important player this Illini team has. Sure. And so for us, it's just kind of, we take it game by game, trying to build up the offense, get people healthy for an eventual run in March. But you guys have a lot more important stakes, where you guys, as you said, between Michigan, Purdue, even Wisconsin is creeping around, and they can sneak away with the conference title themselves. I think it's Saturday. It's much more important for you guys. Also because, again, the reputation of every time you guys play a top tier, and again, I'm still calling Illinois a top tier Big Ten team, you don't win. And so there's kind of like a face saving going on here, right? If you beat an Illinois team who, let's just say, an honest win, and I'm using air quotes with that, Kasparis plays, Will plays, there's no injuries, any of that, then that could, in my opinion, be a season-saving game for you guys, because all of a sudden your confidence may come back. And, again, it's going to be a very emotional stadium. If you guys can go into the State Farm Center, with the crush being loud and, again, all the emotions there, I think that can really help your guys' confidence, which I think is waning right now.
I don't think I'm, over-exaggerating or doing any hyperbole by saying, like, this would be the biggest regular season win in years for Michigan State. I mean, yeah, sure, we thought that it might have been, earlier just this season. Hey, North Carolina, top 15 in Maui, beat them in overtime. That's right, and one problem, North Carolina is kind of poop this season, as the experts say. So, but yeah, like, just to go on the road with everything going on at your guys' end, like, this is going to be a magnified game, and that's not just us talking. Like, that's reflected in the ticket prices too, which I just saw before hopping on. By the way, Game Time, go ahead, hop on over there for any tickets for this game. But yeah, and that's a twofold thing. One, like, this game is very big for you guys. Michigan State is in a free fall right now, and they could use any great win, and this would certainly be a great win, but also, and not just to, keep on making this a complete rain cloud for Michigan State fans, but program's kind of been in a spot the last few years where there aren't a lot of great regular season wins here, like, recently. I mean, we got some good home wins, like we beat Purdue when they were ranked near the top a few years ago. Tyson Walker, he hit that great shot. Who could forget? A lot of people. But truly, to do this on the road, it would speak volumes about what this team is made of, especially if someone wants to emerge as the guy, because there's been some issues, of course, in these last 4 games. One of them is the old cliche, hey, MSU doesn't have a guy. They don't have someone that could just take the ball and do it. During the 13-game win streak, that didn't seem to be a problem at all, Sonny. That was fine. I was like, what do the haters know? That's just corny talk. No, it turns out it's very important in the game of basketball to have someone that you can trust late in the game. So if anyone, I don't care who it is, that'd be great to see if they could just do it in that fashion too. So yeah, a lot riding on with the win here. As far as who's the alpha in the room, is it easy that it is just, Kasparis, the guy that is a foul machine over there for you guys? Has he limited that at all? But no, on a real note, like, is it still like his team, has Will Riley done enough to, like, even make that a conversation? No. Thomas Slav, whose name I always screw up, is he, I know that you said he's the most important player, but alpha important, you think, or
no?
It's still Kasparis' team.
Kasparis is one of the maybe 5-10 best players in the country. He hit a freshman wall, and for the previous 4 games, 6 games ago, for about 4 games straight, where he struggled, and guess what? Illinois struggled. And that wasn't really a coincidence. He's picked it up the last 2 games. I believe he had 24, 4, and 4 against UCLA. He's still the key player. He's the guy who's going to be a top 7 NBA draft pick. Will Riley is just more of an added bonus. He's kind of like he's turned into maybe like a B+ version of Kasparis, which is huge because for a while he was shooting only 13%. I think coming into the Michigan State game, he was only shooting 13% from 3-point land in Big Ten play. But if you take a look at his stats over the past almost 2 weeks now, he's won, I believe, back-to-back Freshman of the Year or Freshman of the Week over the last 2 weeks. 2 wins ago against, I believe it was Minnesota, he had 27, 9, and 7. Again, just emerging as the potential lottery pick that he was also dubbed to be. Will Riley was the highest ranked recruit Illinois has had since D. Brown. So it's been a very, very long time. His arrival was very hyped. But to me, it all starts with Tommy Izzo. Like, he's one of those, he's the quarterback of the defense. In that first game, he actually played sick. And they thought it was the flu at the time. But it turns out, he missed the next 2 games, which, again, we lost against Maryland. He had mono. And basically, I hate to say it, but he was kind of like the Rudy Gobert of mono in the Big Ten conference. Now everyone's getting sick. Yeah. Now at this point, everyone's getting sick. And, so that's why, I'll just allude to 2 of the other guys, Trey White, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn. They've played very minimal minutes the last couple of games because they're getting over their sickness. And so essentially, Illinois has been playing with 6 guys, but out of those 6 guys, when 3 of them are Kasparis Jakushonis, Will Riley, and Tomislav Ivisic, you can still beat really good basketball teams like the UCLA Bruins. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, 80% jokingly, like, did Tomislav do bio warfare with sickness? But you beat me to the punch. So There we go. Kind of had a ripple effect.
See, again, I can admit it. We're very humble about
the game is
that.
the game. You got to get creative to win in the Big Ten these days. I completely get it, man. Look, I gotta ask a few more questions about the Illini. I'm sure you got a few more about the Spartans here, but first, you need to talk everyone's ears off about FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there is no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. Guys, I love using FanDuel, especially during these live games, because if the team's down like double-digit points in the fourth quarter of an NBA game, this isn't official gambling advice. This is just my own opinions. You might as well go through a few shekels on there. Those happen all the time in the NBA. So it's nice to put your money where your mouth is sometimes. And my favorite part, when that does hit, you get paid instantly with FanDuel. You're not just waiting around for the next commercial break for that money to hit. No. It's right in your account right away. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That is FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. I'm glad you brought up Gibbs Longhorn at the end of that, because I truly feel like he's the guy that has exploded the most for you here. And hopefully this is different than the question I just had of hey, is anyone, competing with Kasparis for the alpha of the team? But is there anyone whose stock has risen as much as Dre Gibbs Longhorn from the last few 6 or 7 games, or however long it's been since we've met?
Again, statistically, Will Riley, sure. But Dre Gibbs Longhorn was inserted into the starting lineup when all the other guys were going down, with sickness and whatnot. And the one thing we all love about DGL is not only his story. To give you a little quick cliff notes, he was originally committed to Purdue, right? And then he had some issues with the fan base, and he decided to decommit. And the mom and him have been going back and forth with the Purdue fan base for a very long time.
Great.
Illinois and Purdue do not like each other. Okay, so
perfect. We can break bread on that then. That's good. Okay, there we go. 22 minutes in, we finally met on something. Okay,
excellent. I like that. So DGL didn't play much his freshman year, and his mom was very vocal about that. And so if you had told me that Illinois was going to be replacing 10 guys on their roster this upcoming season, and I had to list the players of importance who I thought would stick around, zero chance I would have said DGL. I would have thought Dre Gibbs Longhorn would have been the first guy to transfer out the first opportunity he got. But he didn't. He stuck around, and he's the only guy from last year's basketball team still playing this year. And he's one of those guys who just, no matter what, there's been games where Illinois just looks lifeless. And it's like, what are they doing? They look sleepy.
Sure.
Not him. Every time you bring him in, even if it's only for 7-8 minutes, like it was earlier on in the season, he would be diving for loose balls, trying to hype the crowd up so much that the Illini fans were like, hey, we got to reward this kid. This kid's going all out. This team is struggling, especially through that month of January. They struggled a bit. Let's reward DGL. He comes in and he gives you buckets. And so that's what he's been doing. He got to start. Unfortunately, he got sick. And so the last couple of games, he hasn't done too much. But we're hoping that the rest that him and Trey White are going to have had over the past week will have them good to go on Saturday.
Gotcha. Apropos of nothing, this is just a random question. It has nothing to do with the game or Michigan State. Or do you guys do zone defense by any chance, or again completely random? I'm just curious.
So you guys are actually very fortunate in the sense where Brad Underwood hates zone defense.
Until Saturday at 8 p.m., I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah, exactly. The game tape is obviously out, but Brad, you really have to twist his arm to go zone. And it's just, that's not how he builds defense, So it's one of those where I know that was a huge talking point, not only from you, but other, national media and Michigan State content creators out there talking about, hey, how vulnerable you guys proved to be against zone defense. Honestly, I don't think you have to worry about that with Illinois. Now, they may throw that out there for a couple minutes here and there, but Illinois is not going to scrap their entire defense, their game plan and their strategy just for the Spartans. So in that sense, I think you guys are going to be okay.
If you guys do it, though, for 3-4 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mental note of the score, add 0 to ours, add 12 to yours, and go clean the kitchen, come back and due time. And that's all I'll miss, because we found our kryptonite. It's just your everyday 2-3 zone defense. You could see at any local high school in the Lansing or Champaign area. It wasn't even a great 2-3 defense Indiana ran. And oh my God, our guys were seeing ghost out there, Sonny. It was.
Let me
Great
ask you a
times.
question in pertaining to that zone defense. Obviously the quote went around with Tom Izzo talking about how he really essentially couldn't play Jeremy Fears against that zone. Now,
isn't that great? Right. Yeah.
Again, Illinois Illini fans are going to find this information interesting because, Jeremy was a guy who was Illinois was very involved with that recruitment for a while, and again, the story is, I'm not confirming one way or the other, every fan base says this, is that Illinois had eventually cooled off because Brad Underwood now only wants to recruit shooters. And basically Jeremy was never quite the shooter that his brother is. And so that's why they kind of backed off. And at the time, they ended up getting Sky Clark later on in that recruiting cycle. But again, Jeremy's supposed to be like one of the pillars of the future of Michigan State Spartans team. Are you in any sort of way, kind of concerned about this lack of shooting?
That's not the right C word. I'm confused. Like that's what I would do, especially for Jeremy Fears' case, especially. And like that was his thing coming out of high school, is that like he's got the whole package, unless you want to talk about shooting. But that was something, of course, that he relentlessly worked on. And to start the year last year, before he had that tragedy, of course, that ended his season, you didn't really see it, but oh my God, in this December, you saw him get more aggressive towards the basket. You see him firing off a three every once in a while. And I know it's a small sample size because he does it so little, but he is shooting around 40% right now from three. So to him end that game against Indiana with 2 shot attempts, Jeremy, I love you. I think very highly of you. I love the moxie you bring to this team. I love your defense. I love the way you run the floor. But would you just shoot the ball? Like, it's very clear that this team needs someone to shoot the ball, Jeremy, because, well, no one else could do it on this team. So why don't you just give it a try? What's the worst that could happen, Jeremy? What, you're just going to miss it like all your other teammates? At least you got some reps in. So, no, that drove me absolutely insane amongst many other things against Indiana is, my man, like, it seemed like we were trajecting towards a more aggressive style of play. And I know against the zone defense, it limits what you can do. You can't drive as well. But, like, I'm sorry to boil it down to something so simple, but just fire a shot or two off. Make the defense respect you, my man. Like, oh, God, here I am just getting upset. The game hasn't even started. And the other game ended more than 48 hours ago, and here I am just still stewing. This is great. No one can shoot on our team. I'm going off on a tangent. This is the weirdest thing in college basketball history, as far as I'm concerned, is that Michigan State is top 10 in free throw percentage.
Yeah,
I think they're bottom 10 in 3-point percentage.
Yeah, that's wild.
That simply could not have ever happened in the history of college basketball. Like, I don't know how a 4-foot difference between the free throw line and the 3-point line have just that catastrophic of a difference. But look, the sample size is out by now. The whole season we've been saying, one of those numbers has got to start meeting the other. No, we're like 20 whatever games in. It's very clear that this team is just a statistical anomaly, and it is breaking our backs right now. So sorry to go off into that little tangent there.
All right, Matt. So let's kind of wrap it up here. Michigan State wins if
somebody be somebody. No, really. You know what? You got to shoot the ball, obviously, and you got to shoot it well. And let's keep it up with the rebounding, too. I know that was a very close margin the first time these two teams met this season. So it's got to be rebounding. Do something that you've done all season long. They've only been out-rebounded twice this season, so you got to have that as your cornerstone. But on top of that, I mean, you got to make the three-pointer. And what better place to break out of a three-point slump than in front of a rabid fan base that wants you eaten alive on that court, 8 p.m. on Fox. Surely that's going to be a comfortable situation for them. Maybe that's the issue, though. Maybe all the other places that we've played are just a little too cozy, and we just need people that are rabid like dogs to just get after our team. So, Sonny, how do you guys lose this game? How about that? You like that one? So I'm going to bounce that back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, quickly, if we win the game, if the stars start, kind of the opposite, of what you're kind of saying. If the 3 guys show up, then, again, I'm trying to be humble about it in the sense where if those 3 guys play at their level, there's no team in the country they can't beat. That's just how good that offense and defense is. Mm-hmm. They can lose this game, though, if Michigan State plays Michigan State ball the way they played earlier in the season. Illinois is prone to turning the ball over because Spershak Yushonis, I was talking very highly of him all episode long because I think he's, again, truly one of the top 7 to 10 players in the country. But he makes some very silly passes every now and then. And, he's a guy who can end up getting 6-7 turnovers in a game. And, if those turnovers happen at crucial moments, well, then who knows? Because Illinois themselves aren't a good 3-point shooting team, right? Like that became the national narrative for a very long time, that we lead the Big Ten in 3-point shots per game, and we had the lowest percentage coming into the game. Now, they've changed that up a little bit, and now they're not nearly shooting as much as they used to. And, they are going more inside out as it's a strategy that essentially Brad has incorporated over the last 3 games. But what if they get a little shot happy? Again, the crowd, the emotions, it's going to be loud in there. If they're wide open, they may want to shoot those threes. And if they fall into their old funk, then, who knows? Michigan State could end up sweeping this series, and we would not be happy with that.
Oh, boy. Oh, you thought my tweets were annoying after the first game.
Just know, I bookmarked all of them, Matt. Just know.
Oh, great. Oh, boy. Okay. I'm going to get a lot of retweet notifications on Saturday night. I got a feeling here if the game goes well, you could probably tell I'm not exuding confidence for this game. I think that goes without saying here. But, right now, Torvik is expecting a 6-point Illinois victory. Is that kind of where you're at right now?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, although I did predict Illinois would win the first game. So, I've been wrong before.
No one on the Locked On Network is ever wrong. Come on, Sonny, do not be ridiculous. Guys, that's Sonny over there, Locked On Illini. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt over at Locked On Spartans. Regardless of what happens, you catch us on both of our shows. It's going to be a great time for at least one person. Really hope it's me. Sonny, I adore you. I respect you. It's always cordial. I hope you have a miserable Saturday night, though. It was good to see you.
Likewise. I'll continue to be friendly starting Sunday.
Yes, but from the windows of 8 to 10 Eastern time. Go screw yourself, Sonny. That's right. All right, guys. We'll be back. We'll see you guys.